Yo, yo, my sovereigns, what up? This is Boba Fett, uncensored on the internet. It's been a while since I've made a video that has not been about Splinterlands. So for something different, I thought I would start blogging my adventure, I guess you'd say, my departure from Australia to my new life in Mexico. And well, from the beginning, it was from Melbourne, a 12-hour flight to Santiago in Chile, a little wait at the airport, then on to Lima, little wait at the airport, onto Cusco. Cusco was the first place I stopped off. Cusco and the surrounding area in Peru. So I spent 3 days in Cusco. A friend of mine manages a couple of hostels there. I stayed in one of those for 3 days. Then I went out to Urubamba, which is in the heart of the Sacred Valley. So you have like the Sacred Valley, you've got Urubamba in the middle, Pisac and Ollantaytambo. And so I stayed with my friend there and his family for a couple of weeks before then moving on to Colombia, where I stayed with Eco Instant. Many of you on the Hive blockchain would know that name. And lives in a town out in Líbano, Tolima. So it was a 6-hour bumpy bus ride from Bogota, and then from Colombia here to Guadalajara in Mexico. So for those of you who have stumbled across this video, perhaps with the tags of Tartaria or Digital Nomad, please do consider checking out my Splinterlands 101 weekly video podcast. If you're not familiar with Splinterlands, check it out. It's on the Hive blockchain. If cryptocurrency is also something new to you, this could be an interesting way to get into the whole crypto thing, because it's an NFT trading game. Sort of think like Magic the Gathering style, but in NFTs. And it's a whole education in the crypto, because you learn how to swap currencies and do all kinds of things. I encourage you to check that out. But anyway, on with the purpose of this blog. Let's have a look at Cusco. So for those of you familiar with the whole Tartaria genre, whether you're a believer or not, it's certainly a very, very interesting rabbit hole to delve into. And for Tartarian researchers, like seriously, Cusco is a Tartarian wet dream. The whole city is just old world architecture. Now this photo here is the view from my balcony at the hostel. And this particular old world wonder here, absolutely amazing. There's a few photos of this because I was just infatuated with this building. It was amazing. I'd spend an hour or so at the time on my balcony just staring at this building, an absolute old world wonder. But there's better close-up photos of that as we look along. We're just going to have a look at a few shots here from oh, there we go, there's a close-up now. Just look at the intricacy in this. But again, don't worry, there's better close-ups to come. And also all of the videos, all of the photos we're going to be looking at in this video will be shared in the blog. So if there's a photo here you like, don't worry, just go down, scroll down through the blog and you can download it from there. Still from the same balcony, different view, these old world wonders, a little further off to the right than the one you saw previously. Again here. All of these are visible from the balcony at my hostel room. Absolutely amazing. Cusco is just, there's literally hundreds of these old world wonders in Cusco. That's the hills in the background there, and later on we're going to have a look at a photo at nighttime. This place lights up amazingly. On one of the bus tour, they're actually called collectivos. It's like a mini bus. It fills up with people, then it goes. And to get to Urubamba, we actually drove through these outer developments here in the hills. And as you can imagine, I mean, Cusco is at an altitude of about 3,700 meters, and it's all up and down. It's mountains, right? Slopes, so you can imagine. But when you're driving through these suburbs here, you look at these houses and buildings on the elevations, there are hundreds and hundreds of steps. Like if you live here, you're going to be super, super fit. Just the number of steps you've got to go up and down just to do your daily activities is unbelievable. Another shot there. Okay, so now we're at the Plaza de Armas. It's like the main center square of Cusco, and this is one of the buildings. This is not one that we could see from a balcony. This is a totally separate building here. Absolutely amazing architecture. And again, Tartarian researchers recognize these little balls on the roof. We even have them in the outer suburbs of Melbourne, in the northern suburbs. All of the buildings scattered along High Street, through Thornbury and Northcote have these. And when you consider Australia only has a 200-year colonial history, and when you look at what resources the first settlers arrived at, it would have been impossible to build buildings like this. Yet we have buildings like this in Australia as well. The indigenous population of Australia was there for 70,000 years plus before the colonists. But the history of Australia and buildings like this doesn't fit. It makes no sense at all. You will see these exact same buildings all over the world, whether it be Africa, Pakistan, India, little islands like Malta, Europe, New Zealand, the same buildings all over the world. And look at the size of the doors here. Look at the people and the size of these doors. Absolutely incredible. And just look at the intricacy, the detail that's gone into these. Now here I'm standing on the steps in front of what we just looked at. So this is a different building again. Like I said, Cusco is just hundreds of these buildings. Big doors. We're going to focus on some doors later on. That hole there, purely for sound resonance. Now this is the one we first looked at. We were around the side here before, looking at that right angle there. But look at these doors. Now this door is huge, and then you look at these smaller doors, but even in the smaller doors, we zoom in, you can see that little cut there. That's our size. This is the door for us to go through. Then we got this bigger door and massive door. So we've got essentially 3 size doors in this building. And again, we've got the same things going on here on the roof. This one's still got its bells. Usually the bells have long disappeared, probably get melted down for various things by pillaging cultures. Look at the intricacy and the detail that goes into this. But wouldn't say necessarily that we can't, but we don't build like this anymore. We just have these Lego block cities. And if you wanted to build something like this, the intricacy of the details involved, the cost would be phenomenal. You would only build something like this if money, time, labor was not a factor at all. Now check out this door here. So big door, little people door, and look where the door knockers are. Why would you put door knockers that high up on a door unless there were people able to use them? And here's another one, a different door again, very intricate door knockers here, but the same deal. Massive, massive door knockers right up here. And look, you can see here the size of the people. Why would you do that? Again, just the detail of the artwork. Here's another building, entirely different building, as you can see, but the same thing. Doors for us and doors for someone else. And there's the door knockers, someone much bigger than us. Oops, did I click 2 then? Oh no, okay. Another building there. And again, just the detail that's gone into this. And just the wear and tear, the weathering. Like they tell us when this was built, but come on. Now, this is the one that I told you was my favorite building from the balcony. This photo was taken just before dusk. And you see these 2 little lights here hovering around the You might want to say crucifix. Some people would say antiquitech. Those lights are not actually attached to the building. It's not like they're sticking out there on poles or anything like that. These lights are being generated by the antiquitech there, and we're literally going around the building. I have another one here as well. A little bit. We're starting to lose resolution now because I'm zooming right in. I did try to take a video because, like I said, these lights are actually moving around the antiquitech here, but the resolution on my video camera is not as good as the still. But yeah, these lights are not attached to the building. They are being generated by the architecture there. Okay, intricate details of some of these buildings, just absolutely phenomenal. It's like a nice shot. And again, just look at the size 1, size 2, size 3, where they're 3 different successive makes, models, or whatever of people's sharing and occupying the city together. Details. We just don't do this anymore. And you'll also, these at the top of columns, this style of relief is also pretty much universal. And when it comes to columns, you might say, oh yeah, but columns, they're so cool, they look good, they're easy to do. That's why everyone has them. But why all over the world and every continent do they have the same kind of relief on top, which is literally like an energy flux, magnetic resonance of what you would expect from if something was generating some kind of electromagnetic energy. And here's something that's obviously been added later. I mean, look at the, I mean, this is very, very amateur compared to the intricacy of the details you see on other things. So, you know, this is what we can do compared to, you know, what they did before. So that's obviously, that relief has been stuck on or added at some later point after construction. Again, focusing on the intricacy here, and you know, these little, I can't think of the word, the pyramid shape, they're not pyramids, but that shape thing with the balls on top, you see them everywhere. There's a close up on that. Another big door knockers up the top, little people, i.e. us, doors. You walk around Cusco and these buildings are everywhere. And look here too at the different style of construction. So there's obviously been, this thing's so old, there's been a lot of repair work done to it over time. You look at the quality here of that stonework, and you come over here and you look at this, much more mortar being used, less uniform construction. So again, this is repair work. And if you have to repair a building, the repair obviously comes long after the construction. And you'll see this all throughout Peru. The older something is, the better quality construction that is, the newer it is, the less craftsmanship involved. And just to zoom in on those parts. You see the water streaks down here from the water spouts. At some point in time, these were actually gargoyles. But I guess the resident of the building, gargoyles might not have resonated with them, so they were all smashed up, and all that's left of them is the water spout, later addition of our little pipeline. But all of this is incorporated into the actual initial construction of the building for water spillways. There's a close-up there on those. As you can see, it's literally built in to the architecture. It has been tacked on afterwards, like our little plastic pipes there. See this a lot, IHS. And look up here. And these symbols, you might call symbols, the shapes. If you're familiar with cymatics, these shapes are generated by cymatics by certain frequencies. So it's almost like they're telling us something here for frequency generation. And again, this is like a relief of what you see on top of the buildings, the pyramidal shape that I can't remember the exact name of with the ball on top. This will make more sense in the next picture, which is panned out. But the reason I took this close up, I was curious to see like if this actually went down and into the building, and it's hard to tell because you can see there's rubble there. So if it's been filled in or whether that did actually curve in and go inside, like, I mean, this even looks like a piece of machinery, doesn't it? And here it is here. So this is what we were just looking at up here. And again, the same style relief on top of the columns there. And just the detail that's gone into this is just absolutely amazing. Okay, some tacked on poor quality craftsmanship at some later date there. That's that window we looked at. Well, when I say window, the hole. This is for sound purposes, I'm quite sure. It would be very acoustic if you were blowing or making some sort of noise, generating noise. Okay, these things were mostly of just archaeological interest to me of some of the stone slabs. My favourite building again, a little clearer shot this time, the detail. Another balcony view shot, personal interest shots. This what we call antiquitech on the top, and a lot of religious symbols that you see on top of really old world buildings are the shape that they are to do with collecting the ether around them for producing the energy that they produced. Look at the detail. Look at the detail that's gone into this. Absolutely mind-blowing. Like I keep saying, you wouldn't do this today. Like it would just be, if you asked an architect to do something like this, like, could we do it? Could we afford to do it? Absolutely mind-blowing. Again, you can see repair work, very different quality. So how old is it if it's needed to have been repaired so many times? Empty alcoves. Sometimes with these built, you'll see like saints or Mary or some general or politician or something's been whacked in to replace them. But always wonder who was originally in there. Who were the people originally in those archives? Were they actually statues? Were they even people, or did they serve another purpose entirely? That shape again. All right, look at the different style just in this one building. Got the old world monolithic, and you'll see some photos later on. In its original state, these massive blocks here fit perfectly together. Like you can't even get a piece of paper or a razor blade between them. But what happened here was they, at some point in history, and it tells you this on the plaque inside, they deconstructed this themselves to try and learn something about the constructive technique. And when they finished, they put it back together, and they obviously did a shit job of putting it back together. But you compare that stonework there with the stonework here, here, and here. Not the same people, not the same civilization, not the same level of technology. Further out shot here with some intricate waterworks, all through the Cusco, the mountainous region, the Andes up in Peru, especially out at Ollantaytambo. So when that video comes out for Ollantaytambo, you'll see some incredible water features. But these things have been working since the day that they were built, still funneling water down from the mountains into the townships. Absolutely amazing craftsmanship. And yeah, I don't know what this block is just doing sitting in there. They couldn't find somewhere to put it maybe. But look at the size of that block, the craftsmanship involved, same with the lintel here, and then this dodgy stonework around it. It's close up on the water feature. This is obviously original. Look at the quality of the craftsmanship of the stonework here. And I don't know what's going on here. Is this some sort of trapdoor access to a level below that is not open to the public. Who knows? There's some mud flooded level underneath all of this. Again, just some stonework I was interested in. This is really interesting. Up in the Temple of the Moon and Sun, up in Ollantaytambo, you have these huge megalithic blocks, massive blocks, like a few ton each. I think 7 ton one of them is. And on the ends of these blocks, where they join, the two blocks join each other, each one has this T engraving here. And what they do when the blocks are co-joined, they put the T in here, the T in here, and then they pour metal. Whether it's copper, bronze, iron, we don't know because the metal has long gone. And this just help keep them locked in place. And in events of earthquakes, because there's no mortar involved in that brickwork, in that stonework, it gives a little bit of leeway for the earthquake. And as I mentioned, the blocks are absolutely massive. They all fit together perfectly. There's no mortar involved. So this block here is just a part. So they've cut one of these old megalithic blocks and used it as a brick, essentially, in this construction. And if you have a look, this is the base, this is the foundations. This massive cathedral that we were just looking at has been built on top of this foundation where they pilfered this block from one of the ancient ruins in Ollantaytambo. So how old are the original ruins if one of the blocks that they took from there and cut is in the foundation level of this building? It's close up there. And this is the building that, like, the foundation block. The stone we're looking at is actually a little bit to the left of here, but not too much to the left. So this was all built on that block that was taken from an ancient ruin. How old is the ancient ruin? I'm not too sure what was going on here. Like initially, this is just the mortar, you'd think. Because sometimes I like to look at the things between things. For example, you look at a tree during the day, the sunlight, you've got the branches, you've got the leaves, and you can focus on them and make shapes, and like clouds, making shapes and things. But I like to look at the gaps. So making shapes out of what's not there rather than what is there. And that's why I was looking at this. And I thought, a bit strange up the top here, but it is kind of anthropomorphic. But when you get down to the lower part, this looks very much like a torso and 2 legs. And then what's going on here? Is this natural wear, cracking, or is this some kind of design that was originally like a tattoo on this person's leg that has, I don't even know what to like to say, what has happened here. But yeah, it does look like a person's body there and 2 legs with some tattoo warrior type design on there down here. So this part is all pure speculation. I was just looking at and wondering. It could very well be natural weathering, or someone has, at some point, has actually this mortaring had a design engraved or incorporated into it. And don't worry and this is a separate. So that's another point too. This shape, these weren't all from the same. These are not photos of the same bit of mortar. These where the mortar pieces cross here between the stones. These are all different ones. And you notice here, this one actually has the foot. So this is the leg coming down. This one's still got the foot attached. And again, these patterns, this tattoo type design on there. Some more up there. Okay, so this is what I was talking about for that building before they dismantled the wall and discovered that they can't actually put it back together again with the same degree of accuracy. See, there's no gaps between these blocks. These blocks fit perfectly together. And this water feature, spout, whatever was going on here, part of the original design. Absolutely incredible. And you see walls like this all through Cusco. And this is at the bottom. And then on top of that, at some levels, you got that later on, less advanced construction technique onto like this. I mean, this is two worlds apart. So at some point in time, they're building this, and then later on in our lineal progression story, science fiction of history, we're building stuff like this. Come on. Why is it the further you go back in time, the more advanced the construction techniques are? We're in a state of de-evolution, not evolution. And yeah, I was just a bit curious, the fact that this one's come loose and gone back, and that stone could only do that if there's a space behind it to allow it. So I was curious, what's behind there? I'd like to have a look in there one day if I could. Another old world building, modern facading, and look at the dodgy writing, like whoever put this on, this is well after the construction of the building, and look at the poor craftsmanship involved in writing whatever that was, compared to the intricacy in the design incorporated into the original building. This is on a footpath, looks like either side. Both of these flowers are a little bit different, and there's the footpath. In Cusco, a lot of the footpaths incorporate steps because all through Cusco, going up and down, and 3,700 meters above sea level. It takes its toll. You get pretty exhausted pretty quickly. My favorite building again. This is just before dusk. Just before dusk, they light it up, but it goes dark when it actually gets dark. They don't leave it on all night. But yeah, it lights up quite nicely at night time. Another shot of the balls being generated by the Antiquitech, the light balls on the top there. More balcony view. Okay, here we go, night time. So the lights are off now, the building is dark, but these little balls of light that are being generated around the Antiquitech still glowing. And there's the hills at the back. Someone was pointing out to me that these, explaining that the communities that live up in these hills, the light here is very specific. It's actually by draftsmen drawn out, and these lights actually make animals. Now, I can't remember them all, and even as he was pointing out, some I must admit I couldn't see at the time. But this one here is like a condor. So this is the body, this is the wings going out to the side here. So the reason for the different colors, the positioning of the lights in these outer suburbs is all by design, architecturally. I did mention that the best way to see this, where the clearest way to recognize the animals in the lighting is by aeroplane. So when you're coming in at night time, it's much clearer to see what they are. This is a very typical street in Cusco, very, very narrow. This one here is just a footpath, but this one here is actually a road. The streets here are one way because they're only wide enough for one car to go. But all the street, all cobblestone and stonework. And many footpaths in Cusco incorporate steps as well because they're quite steep. And you're going up and down these all day. Yeah, you get pretty tired and pretty sore pretty quick. Back to the Plaza de Armas, the main heart of the town. Yeah, I can't even remember here whether the sun was coming or going, but it just made such a beautiful pattern in the clouds. I thought I'd take a photo of that. This is a pillar, again, the energetic flux. When we ran, this is just a column outside of a coffee shop, El Jardín, where I used to get my coffee every morning. Another building in the background there. Like I said, Cusco is just littered with these buildings. Absolutely incredible place. But that's it. That's my photos for Cusco. I hope you have enjoyed them. Anything you've liked, just remember down in the blog section, all of the photos are in there. So if something you like, you want to download, maybe a wallpaper, screensaver, knock yourself out. And yeah, once again, if you found this video simply because of the tags, please do check out my Splinterlands 101. And if you're watching this because you're a Splinterlands 101 fan, if you're interested in the additional side of my interests with Tartaria and so forth, do check those out. There's plenty of stuff you can look at if you Google Tartaria, especially on YouTube. In fact, if you're interested, if this sounds interesting and it's new to you, there's a channel I follow. I'd highly recommend John Levi. I'll actually put a link to his YouTube channel down below as well. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you on the next video, which will be Ollantaytambo, no, Pisac. Yeah, I'm trying to do it. Urubamba and Pisac, and that will be out once I've got some photos uploaded correctly for that one. And also every week, Splinterlands 101. I'm Boba Fett. Peace out.